Hey guys, welcome to this very special episode of Taming Tumbleweed, because today we are getting rated. That's right, I've got my friend Hunter here from OnX Offroad, who's going to actually go with me on the course, and he's going to rate it for OnX so that we know just how difficult or easy it is. So tell me, Hunter, what do you do?
So we are a app-based navigation platform. We have a whole network of trails across the country, and out here today to run through the courses here and see what you guys are all about, and show that these vehicles are actually getting put through the paces.
Yeah, OnX has been a great sponsor of ours. So one of the things that we'll be starting out with is actually naming the course. And to do that, we've actually made a really cool sign. So Hunter, do you mind if we kind of go down and show where the sign's gonna go before we go and run the course?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start with that, huh? Yeah, check this out. Now, we're gonna put this up at the entrance of the course. And the plan is we're gonna get some telephone poles, and then we're gonna string this up between the two poles so that you guys get, well, the big thank you for helping us name the course OnX Off-Road Course. I'm so excited. Let's load this into the truck and show them where it's gonna go.
All right.
Now, right now, it looks a little dirty, but it's gonna get rusty, and it's gonna look rustic when it's all said and done. So while we're doing this, tell me about the app. How do people use the app, and what do they do with it?
So the app is great for people of all different
Keep going.
all different skill levels and all different ride types.
Yeah.
So anything from moto to UTV, full-size rigs, and snowmobiles. So we have trails. You can find trails near you, or scope out new places to go wheeling.
Yeah, so like when I'm somewhere, let's say Moab, right, and I don't know where I'm going, I can download the app to my phone while I have service, and then it's on my phone when I'm out of service, and then it'll show me the trail, but it'll do more than that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so you can actually download your maps ahead of time, so when you lose cell service, it'll show you where you are on the trail, and it'll make sure that you know where you're going.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this beautiful country of ours has some pretty serious wilderness. Now, the other thing I've noticed is that there's a rating on that trail. So if you're, you know, driving, let's say this Ram, right, and you don't want to go into something crazy, then you can tell just how hard it's going to go. So is that what you're going to be doing in our course, rating it?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a 1 to 10 rating system. So 1 is your easy kind of graded fire road, easy to pass, and then all the way up to 10, which is our kind of hardcore buggy trails. And so then in the app, we have our featured trails that'll actually have these ratings, and that'll help you know kind of what you're getting into, kind of help you make sure that you're not getting in over your head, and make sure that your vehicle is ready for it.
So now we've done a bunch of episodes from our new OnX Off-Road course, and I believe only 2 vehicles have actually made it through the whole course without getting stuck. So I'm really curious to see how are you going to rate this. So we can take the sign down using the Ram, and then we'll use our Kawasaki Mule Ranch Edition to actually run the course. What do you look for when you rate the course?
So we're going to look for drop-offs, water hazards, ledges, stuff that'll kind of separate what kind of vehicles can handle different obstacles. So we're really going to be looking for those technical spots, and when we give that rating, we kind of base it off of the hardest part. So then we know what vehicle is ready to kind of handle the most difficult part of the trail. Yeah, because like side-by-side is a much different vehicle from a truck, right? So like that can do a lot more than this truck. How do you account for those 2 differences? So in the app, you can actually filter out trails.
Yeah.
So if you're looking just for full-size roads, you can filter that, and you just show the stuff for your rig. And then if you're looking for just either single track for moto or UTV trails, you can filter through that.
That's cool.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, well, let's jump in the truck and let's take the sign down where it's going to live.
All right.
This is officially the beginning of the new TFL OnX Off-Road course. Thanks to you guys for helping us do that, allowing our viewers to actually come here and do it themselves. As you can tell, we drilled some pretty deep holes that are covered up right now. We're going to put these massive telephone poles up, and then we're going to hang the sign between the telephone poles so people know they're entering. And we'll not just do poles, but we'll also do like side poles as well, so it'll look cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to be a part.
Yeah, and then over there is of course Andre's pit, and then of course the course that you'll be raiding more. I'm gonna say in the mud, because we just did a ATV video and it's really muddy back there. So I hope you brought a change of clothes, because I love your Vans, but we'll have to keep ourselves in the side by side because it's gonna get a little muddy. Why don't you help me move the sign? We'll put it out here.
All right.
There we go. Nice. Yeah, I can't wait for it to be hanging like 10 feet in the air. It's gonna look so badass.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty sweet.
Well, let's go check out Andre's pit and let's rate that.
All right, let's do it.
As you can tell, we've switched vehicles to now the official rating machine. Do you use side-by-sides to rate some of the courses?
Yeah, so we have a team, it's called the Trail Guides.
Yeah.
And they'll actually go out and run trails in their own vehicles. So we've had them run it on motorcycles, UTVs, and full-size rigs to get a good blend of the different ride types that are out there. So
this is Andre's pit. And like I say, we've set up a bunch of different obstacles here to test the suspension, the approach, the departure angle of different vehicles. And basically, this is for crossovers, maybe SUVs. Some of it is relatively easy, some of it is a little bit more challenging, but we can start, if you want, on the easy part, which is all the way over here. We call this lava lane. That's because there's this very kind of lava-like sand here, and this is a good test of basically approach and departure angle. So as you can tell, you kind of got to go into this, and then you can see like how the front does when it hits, and then how the back does when it pulls out of it. So I'll do this. I'll try to do this in two-wheel drive. Let's see if we can do it in two-wheel drive, but I'm guessing it's not going to be doable in two-wheel drive. So let's try it. We might not be able to. This has an incredible approach and departure angle, so it won't have any issues with it. But you know, like right now we're getting a little buried, so rear tires are struggling for traction. So that's where we run out of traction. So that's when we switch to four-wheel drive in this case, and up we go.
There we go.
So I don't think any of these obstacles are actually doable in two-wheel drive, just because it's a little too steep actually. And it's hard to show that steepness on camera.
Yeah.
So it always looks like, you know, we're just kind of going down a dirt road. But I think that was a good demonstration that even a very capable side-by-side couldn't go up that in two-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Hunter, so this next one we call holes. And maybe what we could do is, once you rate these, what we could do is we could actually, you know, at the sign itself, add a rating for it. How about that?
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So we could have Hole Street, and then we could have OnX rated, and then, you know, whatever rating you assign to it, we could create a sign so people know what they're getting into.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Now the thing about holes is it's just a series of holes, but really what it is a test of articulation. So obviously the suspension has to work. You know, when you're off-road, you want to be able to keep as much tread to the ground as possible, because once the wheels get in the air, then you're kind of stuck. And so this is designed to put the vehicle kind of into the holes at such an angle that if you don't have good articulation, wheels or tires will start to float, and then you end up basically spinning one or two wheels. Now, in the wheel I've got four-wheel drive engagement, but I also have a locking diff that I can't unlock right now, but at some point, even on this course, we're going to have to lock it. So let's go and do logs next. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right, so this is called Logs Avenue, and the thing that we're testing here in a vehicle is, obviously in Hole Street, what we did was we put the tires and wheels at different angles into holes, right? So you were testing the articulation this way. This way, it's more like this. The other thing about the logs is that they're a little slipperier, they're a little stickier, they're less sticky, I mean, so they tend to create a little bit more wheel spin, just because, especially when you get to the steeper part, you know, the suspension has to work to keep the tire on the logs. And the side-by-side's having really no issues with it. It's a little bouncy, but you know, for this thing, it's no big whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, walked right up it.
Walked right up it, yeah. So let's go do the next one. We're getting harder now. So as we go through, it gets harder and harder. So this is called Boulders Boulevard. You see what we did there? Boulders Boulevard. Good
Clever.
articulation, yeah, clever, huh? So what this does is it tests ultimate articulation. So on the holes course, of course, we have the holes staggered in such a way that one wheel is in a hole, the other one is in the air, right? Here you've got a bunch of random rocks, and so the articulation and suspension have to be able to keep the tire planted. And you're also hitting these, you know, pretty pointy and sharp rocks, so you got to roll over them. And then once you get on top of them, they're pretty slick. So this is a real good test of suspension and basically how the all-wheel drive system appropriates power. Because as you know, most modern all-wheel drive systems now work with software that sends power to the wheels that aren't spinning. And this is a really good test of that, because what you end up with are places where tires will be spinning and where places tires won't be spinning, but this mule just eats it up, right? It just puts all 4 tires on the rocks and we just go right up. So we'll do the hardest one last. And this one is a series of trenches where if you can't keep the wheels in the trench, you will get it sideways so that you won't be able to get traction on one side or the other. So this one we actually may have to go into locking the diff, but we'll see. Once again, side-by-sides are much more capable than most modern crossovers. So the kind of thing we'd be testing here are things like the Bronco Sport, you know, maybe a Subaru Outback or Subaru Crosstrek. So we call this the trenches, and it's designed to put the vehicle off kilter and get tires and wheels in the air. So you're going to get it's going to feel a little uncomfortable, but not too bad in a side-by-side. But definitely most modern crossovers will get stuck here. But it does compress the suspension on one side, and if you don't have enough suspension travel, like right there, you feel that, right? We got wheels in the air, and that's when, like, it would be good to have a locking diff, but because we've got off-road tires and because we've got, I don't know, what would you say, probably at least 8 inches of suspension travel in this thing, it's just eating it up. So a little bit of wheel spin, but nothing in here that this vehicle can't handle. It's funny, when I first started off-roading, Hunter, I was always like, you know what, I'll run it in 2-wheel drive until I get stuck, and then I'll put it in 4-wheel drive, and then I'll lock the diffs after I get stuck, right? And then I started off-roading with people who knew what they were doing, and they were looking at me like, you idiot! That's not how you do it. The idea is to never get stuck.
Exactly.
Because once you're stuck, you're screwed, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the way you run most of the time is with as much off-road stuff locked in as possible, so that you never get to a position when you're stuck. Because obviously, if you get to a position where you're stuck and you think you can lock the diff or, you know, throw it in 4-wheel drive and then you don't get unstuck, you're screwed.
Exactly.
So let's lock it up this time and let's run it again. So this is full, low range, 4-wheel drive, diff locked. And I think now it'll just crawl its way up. We'll just go very slowly. You know, there's that Land Rover / Range Rover saying, as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. And so, you know, that's been always my motto when off-roading. Just take it nice and easy, keep the momentum going, keep in the power, and just walk it up, and never actually get in a position where you're even worried about getting stuck.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that looked easy in here, but I tell you, if we did this in like Outback, we wouldn't be making it up the hill. We just wouldn't.
Yeah, it's definitely more extreme that you would be facing in a vehicle like that.
All right, so how was that?
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't scare you?
No, it didn't. I definitely think it's a good setup to test the all-wheel drive and maybe the platforms for people getting into off-road. Yeah,
what we want here is something that's repeatable, right? So when we take 2 different vehicles, we want to be able to compare them side by side to see how they do, so that at the end of the day, if you're out there shopping for, let's say, I don't know, pick, you know, your kind of off-roady vehicle of choice, the Bronco Sport, like I said, or a Subaru Outback, then you can compare the 2 to each other and you get a real test of which one actually has a more effective all-wheel drive system. We also do a thing where we take the vehicles and put them on rollers. Tommy does that on our team, and that shows how the vehicle appropriates power to which wheels. But as much as that was fun, let's go have some real fun.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, welcome to the new OnX Offroad course here at Tumbleweed Ranch. And Hunter, what do you say we go through the course and we'll got the obstacles named, and then you rate them as we go through each one of them.
Yeah, let's see what you guys got.
Yeah, are you a little worried?
A little bit. I've seen some videos.
You should be. Hope you brought a change of clothes.
Sure did. I'm ready for it.
I'm gonna go lock everything up. Low range, 4-wheel drive. The way that the guys in the business taught me to do it. So we're gonna go in locked up and loaded.
Yeah.
So what makes this really interesting is we've got some really cool topography here. So we got a lot of hills, a lot of different ways to get sideways, a lot of water, a lot of dead, rotting material to really make your day interesting. Or you can just come here and fish in the pond.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice.
Yeah, actually I saw a fish like that big in there the other day.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not, yeah. Except it's covered in algae right now. I spent my weekends fishing algae out of it, and it's a losing battle. So this is the first obstacle. We call it Dirty Deed. It's a water crossing, as you can tell. It's mud, it's deep, and it's stinky, and it's not terribly difficult, but it really depends on your tires, right? So this is a kind of a place where you want mud terrains, and you certainly want lockers and all-wheel drive to go through it. Once again, side by side, it's a little bit easier than in like a Jeep or a truck, but it can be challenging because it is wet and dirty. It'll get tougher, trust me.
I believe it.
All right, so what do you want to rate that?
So with that, I'm gonna give that probably about a 4, just with how narrow it was,
yep,
as well as the ruts. That's probably not something you want to be wandering in.
You can smell it.
Yeah, it wafts up pretty nicely there. Yeah, so I'd put that right around a 4.
All right, yeah, that's not. It gets tougher, trust me. So that was just kind of the entrance to the off-road course. Now the next one is going to be a little bit of a climb, just up a little steep embankment. And like I say, most of these are going to be relatively straightforward in a side-by-side. But when you're looking at bigger vehicles, this would of course test your approach and departure angle to some extent, and your breakover angle. But once again, this is just the beginning. It gets harder. So once again, just go into it very easily, climbs up. No problem right there. What do you give that one?
Probably closer to a 3 on that.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good rating.
Something you definitely want to have 4-wheel drive on,
Yep,
but not too technical.
Yep. All right, now it's going to get a little bit more technical here. So this one is kind of interesting because what we do here is we've got a really tight corner that most vehicles are going to have to take, multiple times, right? And that's the hill that we're going to be going up, and so that gets a little trickier. So going down, we call it David's Folly because David built this course. You can see the sign, right? And he actually built this using a pretty big John Deere backhoe, and getting the backhoe up here was pretty tricky.
I believe it.
Yeah, he almost flipped it. So if you look, the sign's upside down. So even getting down here is kind of tricky. Now we're in a very small little side-by-side, so this turn is pretty doable, but imagine if you were in a full-size truck here, right? It would be, I think even here we're gonna have to back up a little bit. See, it's getting a little trickier. We're not gonna make the turn. So it's all about grip, it's all about turning ability, it's all about traction, it's all about fearlessness. You don't want to go flying off the little cliff here. So what I'll do is I'm going to line us up for the next one. I'll go up this way. Line us up so we can get a straight shot at the next obstacle. All right, this one's called Slip and Slide. And this one is certainly a lot more tricky because, as you can tell, we're already kind of sideways, you've got loose dirt, and then at the very top there's a strata of rock that makes a pretty serious ledge. So if you've got a longer wheelbase, you're definitely going to get hung up there.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, and this we'll just zip over it. But if you were in a longer truck, let's say you were in like a full-size truck or mid-size truck, you would definitely scrape your skid plates at the top of this. This is where the breakover, and we lost a little bit of traction, but there we go. And then if you really want to have fun, just go around and go down it too. Go both ways.
It's definitely got a good angle to it.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. What would you say this is? 30 degrees maybe?
Yeah, it's probably right around there.
Yeah, it's pretty steep.
I know the camera never
shows the steepness.
shows it.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, definitely steep.
Yeah, here we go. We're rolling down. So what do you give this?
I'm leaning towards probably a 6.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's pretty challenging.
It's a little off camber going up.
Yeah.
Different traction levels in there, and that breakover angle will definitely sneak up on you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like short wheelbase Jeeps do really well, but everybody gets the Unlimited one now, the Wrangler, so so you got a lot longer wheelbase. All right, Hunter, so this is deceptively easy looking, but it's not. We lovingly call this obstacle Nathan's Crack, after my man Nathan Adlin. And what makes this so difficult, and we've actually, this is the one obstacle where we've actually done damage to vehicles. There's two things that make it difficult. First and foremost, you got to kind of squeeze in between two trees. So if you got a wide vehicle, it gets tough. But you'll notice that there's like a root there, and that root gets hung up on the bottom of vehicles. It's actually like a root / rock. And so because this has a very short breakover, very short approach and departure angle, this will just go right through it. But if you had a long vehicle coming back up that hole, you would drag your ass and you would get stuck. So this one won't necessarily struggle. And once again, if people aren't familiar with the differences between side-by-sides and like Jeeps and trucks, the biggest difference not only is the power to weight ratio, right? Because this thing, you know, it's got plastic doors, right?
Yeah.
Plastic roof. It's not very heavy, so a lot of power to weight, and the weight makes a big difference. But also just a ton of suspension, right? This is designed as kind of a dedicated off-road vehicle, whereas most cars, Jeeps, trucks have to go on the road. So here, as you can tell, you'd go down, and if you were in a truck, you'd be dragging your ass all the way up this hill.
Yeah, definitely.
With this, we should have no issues. And then you hit up on this rock, you hit up on this route, and things like bumpers get torn off.
Yeah, definitely.
This will just walk it. But you can see how much the suspension is working just to get through there. So that one really depends on, you know, the vehicle that you're in. If you're in a side-by-side, cake. If you're in a truck, much harder. What do you think that is?
I'm gonna put that right about a 4.
Fair enough.
But keeping in mind, if you are in a full size, maybe a Ram.
Power wagon.
Yeah.
Power wagon's gonna care.
Power wagon will care on that.
We'll care on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a two-parter, and now it's gonna get interesting because the first part of this, we go back down kind of into the bog, so it gets muddy and goopy and off kilter. And the second part, which makes it really difficult, is it gets even more off kilter, right? So now we're going into the forest. We call this Cottonwood Creek, and as you can tell, rock right in front of us, so you have to have a pretty good amount of lift on your vehicle. And we're, even in this, you can tell we're already scraping. And now we're going into the muck, and this is really ugly muck. This is not the fun muck. This is the kind of muck that come home with it on your clothes, your wife is not going to be happy. It's just decaying matter. So you kind of get through this, and this is all about tires. And now it gets really tricky because we got to get our vehicle out of here. And when we do that, it's going to get sideways. So it's going to go. We're going to go slant really hard left, and there's a little bit of a rollover potential here. Hey, Alex, what do you think the best way to do this is? Straight and then right, or should I cut the turn?
I mean, as far left as you can get, and that'll make it easier.
And then make the turn, yeah. So we'll try to go up. We'll try to go up it directly as opposed to going sideways, because you could roll a vehicle here. So we're really deep into Cottonwood Creek. And just FYI, if you do roll, keep your hands in the vehicle, please. Don't do that.
I won't try and save it.
Don't try to save it. We have never rolled a vehicle. I have never rolled a vehicle. Just so be clear, but I just want to, be clear that there is a slight potential here.
It keeps it interesting.
Yeah, and then the cool thing about these side-by-sides, of course, and any off-road vehicle is you know, your butt meter will think you're rolling much earlier than actually you do start rolling. All right, here we go. Locked up and low. I think we'll be fine. Going into Cottonwood Creek. Get nice and easy. As much as we can. Here we go. It's going to get a little. I don't like that, Alex.
I don't like that at all. So this is where Case got stuck in the ATV.
I'm going to back that up. I don't like that. I'm going to go a little bit more right. I do not want to roll us. So I think Alex's advice was, I'm going to try to go like this. What do you think? There we go. There we go. A little bit of power. And there we go. Woohoo! That's the way you do it. Hope we didn't splash Alex. Like I said, it gets a little butt punchy.
Yeah, I can definitely feel it.
Now the last obstacle that we're going to get stuck on, I'm just telling you, we're going to get stuck on. By the way, what do you rate that one, Cottonwood Creek?
With how technical in the turns and the mud, I'm really pushing probably a 7 on that.
Yeah.
But, real tough to navigate that, especially with even this was rubbing on that rock, just dropping in.
So we are going to get stuck here. I'm just going to give you, a heads up. The worst thing that can happen here is we're going to get really muddy. We call this Tommy's demise because we've run probably, how many would you say, Alex? 3 dozen, 4 dozen vehicles, and I think only 2 have made it without getting stuck. So just know we're going to winch, and I'm going to try to keep the wheel spin down to keep your clothes from getting yucky and muddy. So I've done this before, so let's go and experience Tommy's demise.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Let's do it. Yeah. As you can tell, it's pretty much, the issue here is it's pretty much a hardcore V-notch. So you got to go down into it, then your tires will hit mud, hit dirt, and then because we have a short wheelbase, they're going to get stuck in the mud. It's just the way it is. And then there's a tree over there that we're going to have to winch out of. And the only vehicles that actually can make it through Tommy's demise are long wheelbase vehicles that actually can get both wheels front wheels in the mud, and then the back wheels push into the mud and the front wheels get out of the mud, and then they can go through. Otherwise, it just sucks you in. It's like the devil's anus. It smells like it. It feels like it.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it.
It kind of looks like it. Yeah. So we kind of get stuck in there. I'm gonna try to do some strategic wheel placement here, so that maybe once we're in, we can actually get some wheel spin and get out of here. Yeah. There we go. We're stuck.
There it is.
I could go back and forth. Yeah. We're stuck. We're stuck, Alex.
Let's hook the winch up?
Yeah, let's hook the winch up. Let's winch out here. Let's winch to that tree. You want gloves, Alex?
Already dirty.
Here we go. Let's pull ourselves out of here. There we go. Nice and easy. There we go. Nice.
That was pretty tough. I'm gonna put that probably at a 7 as well.
Fair enough.
If not an 8. I didn't have to winch.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's muddy, and it's dirty, and it's fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's what it's all about.
All right, so we're almost home free. The next obstacle, back in low gear here, the brake. Next obstacle is called Home Free Hill, and what it is kind of you've done all this stuff now. Now you get to go up high above the course and see the entire course in its beauty or not, depending on where you are. So we've got a very steep downhill, then we cross the creek again, and then we got a very steep uphill. So this side by side, now we're once again at like 30 degrees, right? It's pretty much straight down. So this side by side will make easy work out of it, but a Jeep or a truck will struggle through here. We got a little bit of a drop off here. I'm going to avoid it on purpose. Through the pond here, you need good height to clear, and then straight up the hill, my man. Home Free Hill. Here we go. Give a little bit of the beans. And Up we go. A little loosey-goosey rocky here. All the way up, avoiding the rattlesnakes and the cacti. Out to the finish line, where we have a spectacular view of the pond, of the ranch, of the front range of Denver, and of the front range of the mountains. So, congratulations.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've made it, man. Isn't this great?
Yeah.
All right, Hunter, I just really want to thank you for coming out, for sponsoring the course. You know, without him and without OnX Offroad, this would not be possible. We live on YouTube money, so when these guys come along and give us a little bit of financial help, we're grateful, and I hope you guys are grateful as well. So go to OnX Offroad, download the app, and when you're off-roading next time, have a fun adventure and have it in a way where you're not worried about getting lost, you're not worried about getting back to the hotel or back to civilization, because these guys make that possible. And I just really want to thank you for coming out here and for spending the afternoon with me going through now the OnX Offroad course.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We love what you guys do, and we're glad we can find a way to be a part.
Yeah, and click on the link below, download the app, and support the team here. See you guys next time. Ciao.